And on top of that now, we see organisations and individuals using the domestic violence as an excuse to get their way, whether they're vindictive against the other parent or they don't want to see them to see their children, or they're using it for their own joy. I don't know how they can possibly do it. But that is a problem that we are having. Because no other members of Parliament here, I don't believe they really take the time to really understand or debate it or discuss it or say what the real issues are involving this, because they're all terrified to mention domestic violence, false allegations, because you get held down by the Greens or you're held down by the bloody Labor Party. Excuse me, I retract that. Get held down by the Labor Party. The fact is that this is happening. You can't continue to bury your head in the sand. We have an opportunity now to make a big difference to this. Minister, do you admit that there are false allegations in domestic violence in the family law courts?
Minister.
Thanks, Chair. That's not something that I've considered, Senator Hanson. I'm here to deal with this bill.
Evidence has also stated that there is a lot of lies that are told in the courtroom, as we've heard from a former judge of the family law courts, Judge David Collier, who said that there are a lot of, he said, allegations of child sexual abuse were being increasingly invented by mothers to stop fathers from seeing their children. A lot of the problems now in these days is false allegations that are being brought before the courts, and especially with domestic violence, and that's a lot of the allegations that is being put forward before the courts, and that's the reasons why a lot of parents, both sides, male and female, are not being able to see their children because of domestic violence allegations. How is the court going to determine whether it's the truth or not of allegations put up, whether it is in the best interests of the child? The fact is, domestic violence can be brought up in a family law court where it hasn't been determined in a court prior to it to see if the allegations are false or real, because no charge has been laid, basically allegations. Do you believe that it should be prior to a family court over the custody of children, that if there is domestic violence allegations, they should be determined in a court prior to being brought before the family law court? Why? Because the Albanese government has adopted the broken philosophy promoted by women's advocacy and domestic violence groups that children are only safe from violence in the care of their mothers. This denies evidence that women are more likely to commit violence against their children than their fathers. The demonisation of Australian men is unjustified and needs to stop. Men are already overrepresented in homelessness, in jobs with higher risk to safety, as victims of violent crimes, and tragically in suicides. Many of these studies are associated with unfair and unjust family law outcomes from a system biased against fathers. The removal of shared parental responsibility carries a strong risk of even more unjust outcomes. And this is a backward step, as I've said. This is just hurting those fathers that are hurt more so from not being able to see their children for no reason whatsoever. And you're going to keep it going in the court system. These lawyers are going to make a lot of money out of this. And I feel sorry for the children. You're not considering the children at all. You're a selfish bunch.